All right, y'all. So just like I told y'all last night when I did my show, I was going to do a one-off video today. Somebody suggested that I do a video about T-Boz from TLC recently speaking about an experience that she had at a Ruth's Chris in Chicago where she feels like she's been racially profiled. In short, T-Boz says that she had a very long day. Her hair was not done and she was not about to take her baseball cap off for anyone. They sat her down. Someone told her to take her baseball cap off. Let me just read it to y'all so I don't get it wrong. So I don't get the situation wrong. Let me read it to you. T-Boz walk-ins took to social media to call out Ruth Chris in Chicago suburb after what she described as a racial discrimination. The legendary TLC group member had much to say about the alleged mistreatment. We come to Northbrook, Illinois, Ruth Chris now. I got a hat on because, like I said, I'm tired and I've been traveling all day. So my hair is not combed and I'm not going to take my hat off, T-Boz told her followers in a video posted to Instagram. Now, before I even read it, in my opinion, she's wrong already. Attitude is wrong already, but I'll get to that. She said, all of a sudden, 20 minutes later a manager comes to say, I have to ask you to take my hat off. I'm like, I'm not going to do that. So she's like, well, then you got to sit at the bar. Apparently, 2 other patrons did not have to remove their hats to eat at the table. Now, I will say this is where things get tricky. But then I have to ask the question, what type of hat is it that they've had on? And the reason why I say this gets sticky, guys, because y'all know I frequent Houston's, Ruth Chris, and the alike all the time. When I go to my regular Houston's down in Miami near my neighborhood, well, I always keep a pair of tennis shoes in my trunk because there are times I get there and I may have on my flip-flops and they'll be like, you cannot dine in the dining area with the flip-flops on. And at least the Houston's and steakhouses alike, they have always been consistent with the sir, you can wear a hat at the bar area, but you can't wear it at the dining area. Now, here is where I have an issue. And granted, I was not present for what T-Boz went through. I do have an issue when y'all walk up in these people's restaurants telling them what y'all are and are not going to do. All right. Now, I will say this. At the point in which they allowed her to sit down with the hat, then they should have allowed her to finish her dinner. Now, I would be curious to know if in walking her to their table, they said, ma'am, you have to take your hat off in the dining room. And if she said okay or not, and was like, child, just sit me down. Ain't nobody gonna tell me to keep my hat off. Y'all know how we do. And the simple fact that the manager walked over 20 minutes later and asked her again about that hat, I'm not gonna lie, it suggests to me that she was told about the hat policy. Now listen, I have been in T-Boz's situation before where I have been told to take something off and then somebody else has been allowed to keep it on. Case in point, with the hat situation. I was in Houston's one time. I was asked to remove my hat. I asked, well, then why was this person allowed to have a hat on? It was a lady. And, you know, they described it as you have on athletic wear and a trucker hat, and that this lady had on a nice, classy hat. And now listen, I think restaurants are setting themselves up for failure, lawsuits, and it's a very slippery slope when you start getting into style of hat versus non-style of hat. I think it's easier to say non-hat. But for me to be in a classy-based establishment, I was able to look at that lady's hat and say, well, I do see what they're going for. They're going for a class. I do have on a baseball hat. And again, I'm not saying that T-Boz was not racially profiled, but I'm not going to lie to you. The whole, I had a long day and my hair wasn't combed and I wasn't taking my hat off for nobody, that right there, that statement alone already tells me everything I need to know about this situation. And it's giving very much, you knew what the deal was and you chose to be defiant. And then when they came over to bother you, you want to run to social media and blow up these people's spot. And it's simply not cool. A lot of people always talk about whether their policies and stuff need to be posted. Their policies are posted. And, you know, somebody who frequents nice restaurants, T-Boz, you know what the deal is. They have a thing up at Ruth's Chris that says, many of our guests enjoy dressing up for their meal, donning smart casual or even semi-formal attire, but this is entirely optional. You might see guests in everything from jeans and a nice top to a cocktail dress or a suit and tie. We want everyone to feel comfortable, so whether you want to dress up or keep it casual, you'll fit right in. In an effort to maintain a family-friendly restaurant, we kindly ask guests to refrain from wearing clothing with offensive graphics or language. Additional exposed undergarments, cutoff shorts, tank tops are considered inappropriate attire. If you're supporting a hat or a team sport jersey, we welcome you to wear them in our bar or outdoor areas. However, we do request that guests remove their hats upon entering the dining areas. T-Boz, I'm trying to find the discrimination here. And if you're telling me that the discrimination is two other people in the dining room were allowed to wear hats and you were called out, then I just need you to give us a little bit more information and tell us what type of hats they were and what color that these people were. And sis, I'm trying to be on your side here because we do understand that these situations do happen. But I'm going to tell you something. It's something about you opening up your video saying you had a long day, my hair wasn't combed, and I wasn't taking my hat off for nobody. It's something about that opening line that says you are the one who set the stage for this confrontation in this restaurant. Again, I wasn't there. I don't have all the facts. I am assuming and presuming based on the limited information that we were given. But this is giving, you were not giving your way, and now you want to reverse engineer this to be racism when in all actuality, you was the one in the wrong. That's the vibe that I'm getting just as somebody who frequents these places. Now, I've also been in situations where you go to places and it feel like they got all the black people sitting on one side. I have been to situations like that, and it's very much possible that that would happen. Let me see. There's a part of the article that she mentions the way they had people sitting. T-Boz also had a question about the off-putting experience. The 54-year-old Atlanta native stated, come to find out, Shaggy's crew, my crew, everybody's crew looks like they're sitting in massa section. Why are the black people sitting in this section? In addition, T-Boz captioned to her Instagram, I don't expect special treatment, but I expect the rules to make sense. So make it make sense. She was contradicting herself and no one did their job, so we left and didn't eat there. And a lot of people in our crews felt racially profiled. Just saying. All right, so what was the profiling piece here? Was it all the black people sitting in one section or was it the hat thing? It's really giving you were upset about the hat thing. And I want to be very honest with you. And I'm not trying to excuse away poor behavior. But in my opinion and from where I sit, it only makes sense if you said it was your crew, Shaggy's crew, and somebody else's crew. It only makes sense if I am curating the dining experience in this restaurant and all of y'all have walked in on one energy, on one aesthetic that blurs the lines between we trying to keep this place a classy-based casual dining situation and we trying to accommodate y'all. It only makes sense that I put all of y'all in one section as to not interrupt the dining experience of all the other patrons who are used to a certain level and a certain quality of experience in this place. Now, I can already hear some of y'all in the comments about, you always make excuses for white people and you always find a way to make your own wrong. That's not what I'm trying to do in this situation. I'm simply stating the obvious. If I was responsible for curating the space in that thing, and all of y'all coming in, blurring the lines between appropriate attire and not. All of y'all coming in on the same tired entertainment industry, relaxed and casually dressed. Am I even wrong for assuming that maybe y'all would actually want to be together since y'all are operating on the same wavelength? Am I wrong for assuming y'all would want to be mixed up? You said it was your crew, Shaggy's crew, and one other person's crew. Did y'all want to all be divided and dispersed throughout the restaurant? I don't know. I'm just one of those black people that when I don't get my way or when things don't happen the way I want them to happen, my first go-to is not racism. And this is not sounding like go-to. I'm not going to lie to you. If I'm being perfectly honest, it sounded like what y'all niggas do when y'all come up in people's restaurant and want to have things y'all way. It sounds like some Atlanta SHIT if I'm really being honest. Then when you layer the I'm somebody ego and I got a little bit of money on top of that, oh, they gonna know who we is, we gonna be all right. When you layer that on top of it, that's what it's giving. Not that you were tried in Ruth's Chris because you was black. And it was in Chicago, of all places. Like, I don't know. Again, I ain't gonna go in too bad because I wasn't there. But a lot of y'all asked me to give my opinion on the situation. And the energy just from what T-Boz explained in her video and the makeup of the situation and my understanding of these places, it's giving me them people did the best they could to accommodate y'all in a way that was comfortable for y'all group and everybody else. And listen, there is something to be said about when you and your crew walk in and y'all on a whole different energy than everybody else. I'm not sitting y'all with everybody else. No, y'all can go over here in the corner because we got this group of regular staple patrons that come and we not finna disrupt their environment and their experience for y'all one time dip in and dip out. Y'all not finna tarnish my restaurant and turn our regulars off forever while y'all gallivanting and fool our line around the rest of the world. That's just what it was giving me. But let's talk about it. Y'all jump down in the comments and let's talk about this experience. Have y'all ever had an experience like this? And what do you think? Do you think it was racism? Do you think it was not racism? What do you think really took place at the Northbrook, Illinois Ruth Chris with T-Boz and company? Let's talk about it.